Hey guys, per usual, everything on this channel is for educational purposes only and is not intended as financial advice. I am about to embark on something that's possibly never been done before and never will happen again. We're going to TA every alt on Polo by volume. First, these are my bags. In case anybody's curious of my biases, you can see it's basically dust. I'm up a coin since January. Awesome. So, starting with Ethereum, ETH, BTC, what I'm going to do is look at 5200 crosses and the singled and doubled cloud, probably just on one time frame for most of these, but Ethereum, the higher the volume, the better you can look at it on lower time frames. So let's go through a few for Ethereum. Daily 5200 cross happened a long time ago at this point. No real entry there as far as that's concerned. This is looking head and shoulders-y for sure. Going to the 4 hour again, still head and shoulders. I talked about this in the Bitcoin Magazine article. I thought this was the right shoulder. This could be the right shoulder. It's still not out of the woods. I talked about this in the video yesterday. It looks good because it's above the 50. And when it did that last time, it kept going. So we'll see, but this is tough. And if we go to the singled cloud, let me turn all this crap off. Singled cloud, you can see not a Kumo breakout yet, so no entry on the singled cloud on 4 hour. Daily, definitely not, because it's a bearish TK cross at the moment, and your bids would be here. But overall, it doesn't look great on singled for an entry, and doubled for an entry again, just a garbly mess. Your entry would have been the Kijun, not because it hit, that's just because your entry is always at the Kijun. And again, with the head and shoulders, the volume profile is definitely there. Going down to the 4 hour, you can see there's a potential for a edge-to-edge trade here. It attempted to hit here. When I see it already with one attempt, I usually don't try to chance it again, but if you're feeling confident, go for it. Overall, mixed messages for ETH. Moving to Litecoin, you can see, again, 5200 happened days ago at this point. No entry to be had based on that on the daily. It bounced above the 50. It had a nice W bottom on the 50. So if you were looking at that on the 4 hour, good for you. Entry looked good. So there's that. And then we go to singled cloud here on the daily, and no entry to be had at the moment. 4 hour doesn't look too terrible for an entry. You can see there was a flag here. I think an Ambroid was talking about it as well on Twitter. Just a textbook, beautiful pennant flag, whatever you want to call it. Again, look at all these wicks and just the consolidation. And even the volume matched that here. So as this was forming, you should be thinking this should push higher, and it did. And it's above the cloud already. So entry, just market entry, doesn't look terrible. Usually I like to wait till the previous local high was broken. So you can see it's kind of in between stuff at the moment. And if we go to the daily doubled, you can see no entry to be had there. 4 hour doubled just crossed bullish. So that's certainly another entry. The bearish targets would be here and here. Again, you might want to wait for the local high to be broken to enter. It's worth, to some degree, to enter 10% of a usual amount, whatever your usual amount is, 0.25 or whatever, and then just add on to it as it breaks the high here. Now we move to STRAT on the list here, and there isn't that much data for the daily, so there's no 200. We're just going to move it down to the 4 hour. You can see it was super noisy-ish, but there was definitely crosses to be had that took off. So the 4 hour, that was 317, was your entry. There's also a bit of a falling wedge here that broke up as expected. I forgot to mention on the daily, there's definitely a div on volume at the moment. Higher highs on price, lower highs on volume. And then the 2 hour, also 317 in that cross. So 5200, no matter the asset, the time frame, the exchange, it's usually a pretty good starting point if you have no clue what you're looking at, no clue what you're doing, okay? As you can see here, it paid off. It doesn't always pay off, but it's worth trading it often enough that it should pay off eventually. more than it doesn't pay off, if that makes sense. Positive EV. We go to STRAT on the singled cloud. Again, not much data on the daily. No real entry to be had here. 4 hour recrossed bullish, and as expected broke upwards, and again it broke the local high here on this candle. So again, like I was talking about with LTC, you know, you might get the TK cross above the cloud, and then you wait until it breaks the local high, and then you add. That's fine. That's usually what I do. So it's singled, and then if we go to doubled cloud on the daily, no entry, 4 hour looked good. As far as the entry, same thing as the singled. And the 2 hour is lagging, so it's not going to load. Okay. So yeah, the 2 hour doubled looks just like the 4 hour singled. No surprise there. ZCASH, which I affectionately refer to as ZCrash. Not enough data again for the 200 on the daily, but you can see it's breaking above the 50. So it's bullish, as it obviously wasn't above the 50 this entire time. If we go to the 4 hour, you can see the cross happened a little bit ago on the 16th, and getting some sort of ranging W bottom perhaps. The 50-200 didn't reoccur, so that's good. If we go to the 2 hour, you can see you're getting another 50-200 cross here recently, so that would be worth paying attention to as far as an entry is concerned. The last being around 3.9, and then the close being around 4.3. We go to daily singled cloud. Again, bearish TK cross. This is telling you not to trade this right now until we get a bullish TK cross, which would occur once breaking local highs. You'll hear me say that over and over again in this video. 4 hour looks good for an entry. Bullish TK cross above cloud. Cloud's bullish. Lagging span's bullish. Some sort of falling wedge W thing breaking up. So worth maybe quarter size entry position on daily doubled. Not much happening, just sideways really. You can see it's in the cloud, but you might be saying, well, it's possible for an edge to edge here. Is this happening? It's really tough with these alts that have not a lot of time attached to them. So here's the 4 hour doubled. Cloud is yet to turn green. Lagging span is in price, so depending on which cloud you want to use, single to doubled, or 2 hour 50-200, you know, those are all things you can pay attention to here. All telling you good things as far as the future is concerned. If we go to Ripple, affectionately known as Cripple or Crapple, again, 50-200 occurred actually the day before, I think. The day before? I mean, it makes more sense if it's the day of the big spike, but it was close the day before. Point is, watch this stuff. And you can see it's made this flag here. So this whole zone up here, it just tells me like this never happened because the flag's all the way down here. So it's flagging real nice on the daily, the 4 hour. Again, 50-200 occurred 318. So if you've been long on alts since 317, you've been definitely in the money here. 2 hour cross 317. Okay, and so nothing really actionable on the 50-200 as far as that's concerned. We go to the daily cloud again. We have a bearish TK cross. You'd expect price to return to this level. There's a strong pull to this 50%. That's if you believe this is real. I know it's on the chart, but this super strong rejection says that it's not likely to recur soon, but it's Ripple, so who the hell knows? So this level 3752 I think is really good for resistance as a target here. If we go to the 4 hour, there's some argument for an edge-to-edge trade. This is a really curvy cloud. You don't really see curvy clouds too often. This just means that all the price volatility happened super quick. There wasn't any sideways, pretty much, which is what you're seeing anyway. If you get a bearish TK cross, below the cloud, that's a strong indicator that this sucker's not going to go to 3752, and it's going to go to the next support down, probably 1800, something like that. But it might just go sideways, and you might get the bullish cross here on the 4-hour singled. If we go to the daily doubled, again, super weird because the Kijun is way above the price here. This just says it hasn't had a chance to catch up to anything, so don't use it. Whenever you see this picture, keep in mind this value 3752, but just don't use it because it doesn't tell you anything. Use a lower time frame. So for instance, this one, you can see you're getting a bullish TK cross here on this candle for the first time since the drop, since it crossed above the cloud. That's your first sign of hope if you're long. And the target again would be on this time frame 3968. So 3800 to 3900 I think is a great target for Ripple. Let's just check the 2-hour. Yeah, the 2-hour looks like the 4-hour singled. Okay, so here's MONERO. At first glance, you can see how volatile this has been and how excellent the 200 has held this up. So, going forward, bids should be at 200. No brainer. And you can see the cross. This cross occurred, wow, months ago on the daily. Months ago, okay. June? July, something like that? Crazy. The 4-hour, probably the more reliable time frame if you're trading it just now. As far as entries are concerned, you can see we're about to have a bearish 5200 cross here on nothing volume. They just had a hard fork too, so a planned hard fork, scheduled hard fork, but there's been some FUD from other Zeke people and blah blah blah. I don't really care about all the coin fundamentals, but you know, 5200 crosses again. Check them out. I like the 4-hour for MONERO. Let's just see the 2-hour real quick. Too noisy. Okay. We go to the daily singled cloud. Again, TK cross is bearish. Price is above cloud. Wait for TK cross to go bullish again. 4-hour, just sideways, nothingness. Don't trade this on the 4-hour. Don't. If you're not already in MONERO, don't enter on based on any of this stuff. That's for sure. Daily about to cross, bearish on the TK cross. Crossing down below the cloud here. Yikes! So if it breaks this zone, you know, certainly expect some test of this. Definitely this level and then this level here based on this point here. So that's MONERO. Here's Dash, which has had a monumentous rise and pullback. The 5200 occurring somewhere in January, basically sideways. But overall, it had a really good run. Again, you're seeing a bounce on the 200, you're seeing a W here. These are things you want to see if you expect continuation. 4-hour 5200 hasn't recrossed bullish, so that would be something to watch for an entry. 2-hour, let's just take a look. 2-hour as well, you can see it's squeezing right here. Whenever I see this, that makes me want to pay attention to the 2-hour with these EMAs over anything else, because it tells me this support resistance levels are real, the market knows it's there, and if they break, the market should respond accordingly. Here's a daily. Again, bearish TK cross, price above cloud, not an entry on the daily at all for anything. 4-hour, however, is crossing bullish cloud, price above cloud, bullish TK, lagging spans in cloud, but overall on the 4-hour looks pretty good for an entry. And if we go to the daily on the doubled cloud again, bearish TK, not an entry. The 4-hour is pretty interesting because you have this edge-to-edge possibility with the TK cross just turning bullish now. You can see here that TK cross was bearish this whole time. And really with an edge-to-edge trade, you want the trade to be congruent with the TK cross. So if you're expecting it to go up, you should have a bullish TK cross. If you're expecting it to go down an edge-to-edge trade, you should have a bearish TK cross. Just like up here, you can certainly short as soon as it closes in the cloud, but this whole time the TK cross was bullish until this candle here. It's bearish, okay? So yeah, that's extra late, depending on, again, position sizing, risk, leverage, blah, blah, blah. All these things you need to consider when taking edge-to-edge trades especially. So the other thing about this is it kind of looks like a little flag situation going on here, pennant, whatever. And I was saying in the 4-hour follow-through that this level, this 063 level, if that breaks, expect it to go higher. So one of the reasons I'm showing the 5200, especially on every alt, is to show you sort of where they are at in the cycle as far as should you expect it to go much higher? Should you expect it to bounce on the 200? Should you expect it to be over soon? So the previous alts, essentially their moves have happened for the most part. ETC and probably the remainder on this list here probably are either crossing today or have crossed in the past week. This has crossed April 2nd. This is Ethereum Classic. There's also a head and shoulders here on lower time frames, but overall the 5200 on the daily is telling you to buy and has been since April. You can see there was a 5200 cross again March 14th, so early March was a really good time for alts, early to mid-March. Everything's still being supported by the 200 here. That's what you want to see. No surprises there. 2-hour, actually not too noisy. So again, if this crosses bullish, that's another thing to watch. But overall, the 5200 very bullish on the daily. If we go to singled cloud, again, bearish TK cross, not an entry on that time frame. These settings. 4-hour, it's a bit of a garbly mess. Possible edge to edge, but there isn't much payoff there anyway. So, you know, it's just really ranging, and the head and shoulders didn't break down yet. It's possible that we might get something up to this level to match this shoulder, and then it would break down, but it also looks like a flag, which is, again, I'm talking about this on a lot of alts here. Flag versus head and shoulders. So here's the flag. So we'll see. That's singled cloud. If we go to doubled cloud, the entry again was on the Kijun. You got like 3 or 4 chances here for an entry, Kijun bounce. Is this a flag? Is this head and shoulders? And the 4-hour, as far as this edge to edge, looks much more profitable as far as the payoff is concerned. So this 2567 level, once we get a candle close in the cloud with the bullish TK cross, is what I'd be looking for if I wasn't already long when in Ethereum Classic. So here's NEM, XEM, which I forget who it is, but somebody on Twitter's been trading it really nicely. Again, 5200 cross occurred March early, so that was a great time for alts. You can see it's at basically local highs at the moment. So you got to ask yourself, do I want to be in a long at local highs here with this insane rejection wick? Just insane rejection wick, about 1K sats of rejection. Doesn't mean it can't go higher, but it certainly doesn't look good based on that. And this is some sort of rising wedge situation. So nothing I'd want to be long in at the moment if I'm not already long from way, way back. Again, 5200, 228. That was your entry. No real entry to be had there at the moment. It's trended really well on the daily. Again, you can see we had the Kumo breakout with everything bullish, and then the TK cross, recross, somewhere in here. So this would be the re-entry or the entry if you missed the entry, and I just wasn't looking at it. There are just too many alts for me to be looking for the entry. But overall, it's had a good run. I think it's going to be close to over here pretty soon. No one's going to like me for that, but it is what it is. 4-hour, again, sideways essentially. Nothing I'd want to be in if I'm not already in it. Doubled cloud. Again, there's no TK cross recross here, so this just has you getting in a few days later and then just holding, depending on where your stops. If you got stopped out as price closed in the cloud, it's possible. But otherwise, you'd just be holding. You just moving your stops up this whole time. You may get stopped out here, depending on how you're trading this. but there's no entry definitely on the daily or 4-hour double cloud. So now we're moving down the list here. We're making some progress. We're moving to BITSHARES now, which has had a ton of history, which is great because you can see just beautifully how the 200 has been rejecting price, and then it tried, and then it got it rejected, and now you're starting to see the 5200 cross here on the 12th, so a few days ago, and there was some sort of flag thing. So it looks like this is real, and it looks like this is something you'd want to be in. Daily 5200 4-hour, again, cross occurred 317, like most of these alts. So it's got some rejection here. It's got tweets or tops going on all over the place, but daily looks really good. If we go to the single daily cloud, we're getting almost a TK cross again, bullish, which means this happened super quick. You might see a cup and handle situation with the cup and then a pullback to the 50% and then moon. So no clear entrance there yet based on that time frame. Here's a great edge to edge. When I see this, I both am happy that it happened and sad that I missed it. But you can see your entrance could have been anywhere in here. And on these edge to edge trades, the keychain's a good place to put your bids, put your stops. If you're leveraged, you put stops there, but if you're off leverage, which I don't think you can trade BITSHARES on leverage anywhere, just hold it. It's really, if it's reached this point, if it's gone from TK cross to TK cross and it's in the cloud, there's a really good chance that it's going to go up or down, but in this case up. Down would be the opposite if the cloud was flipped. So you're getting all this with a bullish TK cross. That looks good. We go to the daily doubled cloud. Didn't really get a bounce on the Kijun exactly, but it's back up above the Kijun here. Not much else to say about it on that time frame. And 4-hour, getting a TK. You got the TK cross. You're getting a Kumo breakout. You'd be waiting on the bullish cloud and lagging span above price. I see this picture a lot. I see price, the Kumo breakout happens, the bullish Kumo twist is yet to happen, and there's this giant flat Kumo here. So what you can expect is price to push until it runs out of momentum, and then it'll pull back to either the flat Kumo again, or it will pull back to the Kijun, which at that point would be much higher. So let's say you missed all this, or you don't want to get in. Your targets would be for entry like 888 or something, and then some good targets for closing at 1300. But based on the daily, this has just massive upside considering where it's been and the time it was in those places too. It wasn't just like pumped and dumped real quick. It's just been dumping slowly for years now. Now we go to Einsteinium EMC2. 5200 cross occurred 323. Again, no surprise there. Many of the alts did. And on the 4-hour, it occurred around 316. Overall, definitely not an entry on these time frames with the 5200. Cloud says that this is way overbought at this point. No surprise there. You're getting a bear div with higher high in price, lower volume. Getting a subtle RSI bear div as well. And anytime you see this giant black hole of real estate here, you got to think to yourself, this has potential to fall quite far until it hits support. So your first support would be this 881 level, and then the second would be like 500, something like that. And the daily, it's blown out. It's not even worth looking at on the daily singled. So the doubled is going to be just trash. Not enough data. This moves too fast to look at it on that time frame. 4-hour doubled actually looks really good for entries as far as that's concerned, just because we have the TK cross here. But again, nothing you'd want to be in if you weren't already in. So the 5200 cross occurred on the 4-hour on 317, and the TK cross occurred on 47. So those are some checkpoints as far as TA is concerned to watch for. Next on the list is Steam, which you can see there's not enough data for 5200. completely on the daily, and it's breaking above the 50, so okay. It's on some pretty high volume at the moment. You can see the 4-hour cross occurred late here, as in the move already happened by the time the cross occurred. So this 5200 bullish cross is occurring now. So there's a good entry on that as far as that's concerned on the 4-hour. If we go to the daily singled cloud, you can see that it's reaching for this level, no surprise, flat Kijun, flat Kumo. It's got some sort of W situation going on. Overall, this cloud's been just red this whole time. Still red. So we'll see if it can turn green on the daily. And then the 4-hour, this peak of green, and then just red, red. So you could enter here. The cloud's saying it's okay because price is above cloud is green. Let's just look at the 2-hour. Might be flagging here. Not terrible as far as an entry is concerned. If we go to the doubled daily, again, it's never been green. The cloud has never been green. So if it turns green, what do you think you should do? Right now there's a bearish TK cross. It's a setup for a bear div if this goes higher. So I expect it to go higher, 1, and then I expect it to pull back to this level, 2. And then, everything should be good to go from there. It's on the daily 4-hour. Again, mini micro peaks of green. Pretty much been red, micro peak of green. Red this most of its life. So it's starting to, again, flip bullish here. And there was some sort of pennant flag, falling wedge situation that looks like it's broken up by now. But again, watch the 4-hour bullish twist. And it's already had the Kumo breakout. TK's already bullish. So if you're not already in, I think that's a good entry. But certainly expect this to go higher. So Factum's been around for a minute, and you can see how kind of noisy these 5200 crosses have been, even on the daily. They've certainly been profitable, but this one was a little slow considering if you're long here, and then this one didn't pan out. This one looks good currently, again March 28th. So that's the daily, but overall it doesn't look too convincing as far as the 5200 as 200s on the daily are concerned. It looks great here. You're getting the cross 315. So if you're not, if this is something you're not already in, 5200 certainly isn't telling you to go into it. It looks like a bit of a broadening wedge here. You get this megaphone thing. Just draw the diagonals here, like this, and yeah, you can see I already had it on there. Something like that. But yeah, just a mess. Just a mess of a ranging mess. Let's turn all that off. That's 5200. Cloud is going to be a mess as well. There was a cup and handle here that failed. Just going to get rid of that. And no entry per se as far as the cloud's concerned. These wicks are just so long. I don't know, just ranging. 4-hour. Starting to look bullish again for the first time since this ranging pullback. So should it break this horizontal, which it's kind of starting to. How far back does this go? So if it breaks this 455 zone, you can expect it with a reasonable certainty to test the next one up, which would be 5, 6, something. That's the single. We go to the double cloud daily. Definitely no entry here because it's already happened. Again, Kijun bounce. Even though, again, these wicks are just gross. 4-hour looked good for an entry on April 13th. Green cloud again. You can see green, red, green. So you want to take that entry when it flips back to green. But nothing I'd want to be in just because it's so rangy. How does it look on the weekly? Just rangy. Next on the list is Bella, which I talked about in a previous video. It was essentially at 0 for like a year or something. The fact that it went from 0 to 1700 sats is just insane. Resurrected from the dead. The zombie coin is what it should be called. But anyway, the 5200 cross occurred a long time ago. Again, this is just because this just has been at 0 for a while. but you know, July 13th, something like that on the daily anyway. So definitely no entry as far as that's concerned there. You can see it's just starting to break the 50 for the first time since March on the 4-hour. Certainly not an entry at the moment. It's got a M double top situation. There was higher volume here, so that's interesting, but not something I want to be in if I wasn't already in it. And then the 5200 cross occurred in January. Going to the singled cloud on the daily, it just looks like it's had its run for the moment, and it's had 4 drives from zero. I mean, that's what do you expect? How much more do you want? Starting to break down out of the cloud on the 4-hour. Kumo breakout to the downside. So bearish TK, bearish cloud, price below cloud, lagging span in price not below cloud. So definitely not looking like a long entry here. If you go to the doubled cloud on the daily, it might bounce on this 9935 level just because that's the Kijun. But again, it's had 4 or 5 runs already. So what do you expect? Everything's pretty much bearish here except the cloud on 4-hour, and then just because I saw this on from the prior Factum weekly chart, you can see this crazy tweezer top. So when I see that, that tells me do not be long in this coin, do not own this coin, check this coin in a month or more, because it doesn't look like it's going anywhere anytime soon. Here's Potcoin 420 Blaze It Man, 5 days away. So here we had the cross on 324. Again, March was a really good month for 5200 crosses on altcoins, and on the daily it occurred September. It had this nasty spike in October for some reason. Don't really know about that. Kind of a ranging mess all up in here. It bounced from the 200. Definitely not an entry as far as daily's concerned. Singled cloud, daily, not an entry. If you're not already long, it's telling you to stay out just because, you know, bids at the Kijun fine, but again, this black hole of nothingness as far as the real estate of range. It could shoulder, head, shoulder, depending on how crazy this gets for 420. I feel like it's priced in at this point. You know, it broke out of the cloud here, so this was your buy, tweezer top-ish. And when you're seeing tweezer top in the same zone at this 469 level, 466, whatever it is, I certainly wouldn't expect it to go higher anytime soon. And 4-hour single bearish TK cross, definitely telling you to stay out. I do like this Triton wick stuff whenever you see this. Again, this is like another tweezer top type situation, dragonfly, whatever you want to call it, but this is a good bid, or just based on patterns alone and not the cloud or anything like that. There was a bear div here, higher high and lower volume. And then lastly on the daily, weekly is pretty gross, those wicks. Daily cloud, again, not telling you to get in, certainly. Everything looks okay as far as the TK crosses are concerned. It's bouncing on the Kijun. It hit the 3631 target, flat Kumo, 50% of from here to here. I don't know, nothing I'd want to be in if I wasn't already in it. And here's rep, not enough data for 200 on the daily. Broke the 50, surprise, March, so again, that move largely has already happened. If we go to the 4-hour now, 5200 occurring in March as well. On the 4-hour, it's bounced real nicely on the 50 and the 200 here as resistance and support. But I'm not really seeing an entry as far as that's concerned for a long, possible head and shoulders, but it's just kind of meh. We go to the singled cloud on the daily, bearish TK cross, not an entry. There's a nice edge-to-edge active here. You can see TK cross was here, Kijun was here, so again, depending on how you play your stops and whatnot, your bids, you know, if you missed it, your bids could always be on the Kijun. Target being somewhere up here. Should it break out of the cloud, definitely a long entry as far as that's concerned. And the daily doubled It's bouncing around here on the key tune. That's good. 4 hour edge to edge just starting here with a target of 104. TK is bullish. So, you know, it might just close these candles like in here and then decide to jump up, but it does look good for a bump to 104 on the doubled cloud. Next on the list is Expanse, which I've never heard of. I haven't seen anybody talk about it, but so we have a nice 5200 cross occurring right now on the daily with this insane buying from 36 to 70. Jesus. And you can see historically where this has been. I don't know why. I don't know anything about this coin, but there was some real nice levels up here or targets. Definitely double from where it's currently sitting. It's definitely a risk for a bear div though, but overall looks good on the 5200s. And if we look at the 4 hour, you can see the cross occurred in March again, and it didn't recross, but it pulled back and then is now just blazing higher on God knows what. Greed and spec, bro. Greed and spec. That's all I know about altcoins. Daily singled, not really an entry as far as that's concerned, but again, that 5200 on the daily is so strong that I would, it's only the second time it's ever happened in its lifetime. 4 hour, the entries, you know, this is just blown out at this point, but so this one's moving fast enough where you can watch on the 2 hour. Your entry would have been here, and it's just going to go, I guess. I don't really know what's going on. If we go to the daily, no entry currently, just as far as that's concerned, the entry was April 9th-ish, somewhere in there. And 4 hours blown out, 2 hours blown out, 1 hour, that's 30 minute. 1 hour actually captured this nicely. But again, are you watching the 1 hour Expanse cloud, waiting for that trade? I wasn't. If you were, bravo, congrats. But yeah, this looks good just for insanity based on the daily. Next on the list is everyone's favorite Ripple alternative currency, Stellar. I was kind of wondering what was going on with Stellar. I think the Ripple dev left to work on Stellar. I might be wrong, but you can see this volume spike. Jesus. Insane. It hasn't had a bullish 5200 cross in its lifetime. You can see all this data from back to August 2014. It's approaching a bullish 5200 on the daily. So you can certainly watch this. The only reason I'm even mildly aware of Stellar is because I think DJ Thistle posted a chart on TradingView about it past week or so. But overall, watch this 5200 on the daily, because if this crosses, that's an entry right there for sure. Here's the 4 hour. You can see in March again, like many of the other alts, there was a cross, but these crosses on this time frame have been super noisy. This does just gross ranging. We go to the daily, bearish DK cross, not an entry, wait for the bullish DK cross. On the singled cloud, you can see there's a nice potential for edge to edge here. This is a gross candle, but you know, when you're working with alts, these edge to edge trades and the like are more volatile, that's for certain. But overall, if your bids were here, you'd get hit here a few times and then you'd be in it. Depending where your stop was, I don't know, but this is definitely just a close everybody's trade candle. Cloud's not bullish yet, but if price is out of cloud and cloud's bullish, that'd be an entry. If we go to the doubled cloud, you can see it's just been down, 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 and then it's just starting. So this could be the bottom, TM, of something real big. New paradigm, perhaps. And it's reaching for this flat Kumo here at 308, which started to print 30 periods back. So here. So when you start to see, you know, when price pulls back this much and it's printing this level, you can start adding to a long because you're expecting it to pull back to the 50%. That's what this is. This is a 50% of this range. So it makes this range, and it just stays in this range. The longer it stays in the range, the higher the probability it's going to return to the 50%. That's why these flat Kumo trades work out so well. If we look at the cred on the daily, 5200, crosses occurred in March, no surprise. It's got this flag situation. You can see there was a flag here. I forget which currency we were looking at the beginning, but similar flag, just like a bunch of rejection and then flagging down here. This one got rejected, and it's just doing its thing, ranging. It did bounce on the 200. So again, if you're expecting this to continue, if you're expecting continuation, bids should always be at the 200, just like bids should always be at the Kijun if you're expecting continuation. But no entry currently as far as that's concerned. We go to the singled cloud daily bearish TK cross. So just like here, wait for the bullish TK cross. No reason to enter that trade now. 4 hour actually looks pretty good as far as the cloud signals are concerned. Bullish TK cross, prices above cloud. You're just waiting for the lagging span, but you could enter certainly based on this. Your target would just be the local high. And on the daily, you can see you're about to get a bearish cross. For the most part, the double cloud is just too slow for many of the alts. They move too quick. And you're starting to see that now, especially when we get in these lower volume alts. But if you get a cross-recross, that's an entry signal. Now, I like looking at the 4 hour for most of these alts, just because it's quicker. So this is actually the 8 hour cloud on 4 hour candles because it's a double cloud. But the point is, you're starting to see an edge-to-edge trade here. Target of either 133 or 145. Now this may sit in this range for a month or more. Look at CURE, look at FLDC. The point is these levels, once it's out of the cloud, so this cloud's going to go flat, everything's going to go flat, price is going to drift sideways, and these remain the targets. Why? Because these are still the 50% of the range, so you'd expect it to hit that level. So the edge-to-edge might fail, but you're already in for a Kumo breakout with the same targets. Going to Neos coin, something I've never heard of. It's got lots of data. It's been around since 2014, I guess. 5200 cross occurred in February on this one. You can see it occurred on a flag, and it's just gone insane parabolic pump and dump mode. Nothing on the 4 hour noteworthy as far as an entry is concerned between the 5200 daily cloud singled. Just stay out because if you're not already in, it's too late. 4 hour, same thing. Nothing I want to be in, that's for sure. On the doubled cloud, again, just too fast. It's just moved too fast. What does like the hourly look like? Load. See, even TradingView doesn't want to look at it. Have me look at it. So hourly had you getting in nicely, but it's currently definitely not an entry for a long. GNT, which has been around for all of less than 2 months here on Poloniex, your shitcoin market leader. Definitely not enough data for 5200 there. 4 hour, still not enough data for 5200. Let's go to the 2 hour. Come on, TradingView. TradingView hates these alts as much as I do. Doesn't want to load. Just gonna get stuck. Okay. 4 hours later, and we had a cross March, no surprise. Had a cross recross recently, April 13th, a few days ago. Some sort of falling wedge pennant situation here. Probably a head and shoulders there on lower time frame. Just a nasty rejection wick there. This is probably just a thin order book. So not too much to say on the 5200. But if we go to cloud, 4 hour singled, you can see, when we get these wicks, it just messes with the cloud a lot. Looks okay on the 2 hour. It's definitely mostly bullish. You're just waiting for the TK cross here to flip. So when that does occur, that would be your entry. But the volatility here kind of scares me as far as future prospects are concerned. For mooning, daily cloud, can't see anything on the doubled. As far as the 4 hour though, Again, you got this nice setup for an edge to edge, but it's kind of a false setup because of this wick. But you know, I think it's worth trying. Definitely put it on your watch list. Wait for the bullish TK cross. Wait for the price to close in the cloud. Your target's 1200. Okay, make it simple. Don't overanalyze most of these altcoins, especially. Here's LBC, something that doesn't have much data at all. Definitely not enough for 5200 on the daily. We go to the 4 hour. You can see the 5200 occurred in March. Again, no surprise. Great, not an actionable entry on this time frame for those indicators. If we go to the single cloud on the daily, you can see it's got some nice volume. Certainly bullish. Everything's bullish on the cloud. Your next zone would be this 16 to 43. Pretty big range here, but definitely resistance up here. You can see it's just selling, selling, selling. So it's starting to pick up something. I know everybody and their mother's been talking about it on Twitter. Daily cloud as well, everything bullish. Lagging spans even out of the price. We go to 4 hour. 4 hour entry was here. Not that I want to be in, really, based on that. On the 4 hour. Next we move to everyone's favorite dog related coin, Dogecoin. So 5200 on the daily is occurring. I'm laughing because I'm in it, but is occurring right now. So that certainly looks good for more up. You can see how these 5200s have occurred in the past year or so. So down, up, down, up, down, up. Let's see if it goes any higher. I like 80 as far as the target's concerned. This selling wick is just gross, but that's the daily. The 4 hour cross occurred in March, no surprise. And when I see candles like this, these aren't really candles, these just because it doesn't really move much, but yeah, not usually something I want to be trading. Just because there's no volume here. Bearish TK cross on the daily. Edge to edge potential, but again, we're talking about Dogecoin here, but your targets would be 45. From here to 45, so 10 sats higher. And on the daily cloud, everything is bullish. Price isn't above Kijun yet. We go to 4 hour. 4 hours a mess, but the level's 41 that it wants to return to because it's 50% of the range. TK is not yet bullish, but overall looking pretty good on the daily 5200. All right. Here is BTM. You can see the 5200 on the daily occurred at the end of March. The 4 hour. So nothing actionable as far as an entry is concerned. The 4 hour trading view. 4 hour cross occurred in March, no surprise. And again, nothing actionable as far as the entry is concerned. Definitely nothing actionable here. The trade was on the TK recross. That was your entry for long. We go to the 4 hour. Again, your long entry was somewhere down here, so nothing I would want to be long in if I'm not already in it. Daily doubled cloud. Looks good for more up, but nothing I'd want to be getting into now for the same reasons, and 4 hour, same reasons. Not much going on there as far as entries, signals are concerned. Next we move to game credits, which has had quite the meteoric rise here with the 5200 cross. March on the daily, no surprise, and the 4 hour. So the 4 hour, 5200 already occurred, nothing actionable there. We're getting a recross, I think, here. This is weird. I see the Kijun moving up below with the Tenkin below it. It just, you don't see that too often. Again, that just says to me everything's moving too fast for cloud to work in an actionable manner. Let me get rid of this pitchfork. So your long will be this TK cross up here at all-time high levels. Kind of crazy, but that's what the cloud wants you to do on the single anyway. Daily, nothing actionable. Definitely your bids would be down here at this 363 level. And the double daily bids at 342 level. It's moved way too fast for Cloud to make sense of it there. You can see the entry on the 4 hour was here, the re-entry was here, based on the Kijun bounce. It looks good. Cup and handily, perhaps. I don't know. Again, here's the 2 hour double, so maybe wait for the cross. You have the cross, wait for the recross, for the re-entry. All of this is sort of a bear div right now because the price and the EMAs, or whatever you want to call them, they're not congruent, they don't match. NAV cross occurred on the daily in March, 4 hour in March, so no surprise there, and on the daily, also in March, the targets would definitely be these wicks up here. When you see this many wicks, resistance, 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 so upside at the moment, not huge, and this wick pattern in addition to these wicks, just tells you tons of resistance up here. Go to the daily cloud, again you're getting a bearish TK with price rising, so that's not an entry, that's a divergence for sure. Low time frame flag forming with potential for Kumo breakout. So you could wait for this to break out and then go along with an entry on the breakout and exit somewhere up in these wicks, probably 1100, something like that. Daily double's a garbly mess. I wouldn't pay attention to that at all. The 4 hour, however, kind of a weird edge-to-edge thing where it happened all in one candle. Not really something you could have traded if you were, I don't know. But the target's here nonetheless, 9502 level. What does it look like on the 2 hour here? So 2 hour double, this is a bullish flag for sure, just not a lot of volume. But 9502, I like that for sure. Now we move to clams on the daily, 5200 occurring right now, and historically, this has some nice market memory up in this moon zone here. So those are some high targets, huge payoff here for clams. Somebody was talking to me about clams maybe 3-4 months ago, but you can see it's had its downfall over the past 2 years. So let's go up here, clams. 4 hour 5200 cross occurred March, no surprise, but this is definitely buy and hold. This isn't something you'd be actively trading. You can see how insane this volume is, all-time high levels. I don't expect it to sit here with volume being like it is. It'll pull back a little bit, sure, but this should take off within 3 months, the most. Daily cloud, garbly mess on singled, 4 hour, also garbly mess. Again, this is nothing you want to actively trade. This is a buy and hold based on the 5200. Doubled cloud, it's at the bottom. You can see all this red, and then, green peeking out. It's above cloud for many consecutive candles. So the level you'd be looking at is 903.209. Ugh. That is a massive upside. Okay. Daily and then 4 hour. Something you do see on the 4 hours is descending volume profile with God knows what pattern, but it's certainly not bullish when you see price rising on lower volume. Overall, just a buy and hold for a few months. Now we move to Sia Coin, one of my previous bags that went from 30 to 77. That was my entry and exit. Hold time was 3 months. You can see it looks pretty good on the daily. It's got this 5200 cross occurring a few days ago. It has a nice W bottom here. It's kind of Wyckofian because it's got sell-off, automatic buy, and then the retest of the zone with a spring here. And it's broken this horizontal, and then it's reconfirmed support on this horizontal. So the structure actually looks pretty good for more up. And again, you're seeing a flag here. So that's on the daily. Let's go to the 4-hour 5200. You can see the cross occurred in March, the support confirmation in April, and then just massive volume historically. We go to the daily single cloud. You can see it had the Kumo breakout, which failed to go anywhere, and as well as the flag, which failed to go anywhere. Then you had another Kumo breakout, which did go somewhere. Cloud is green again. Nothing I'd want to enter currently, although based on the 5200 on the daily, it looks okay, and the flag that's forming here on low time frames, it looks good. Your next target would be this 100 sat level, and the daily doubled again. So when this happened, I was expecting edge-to-edge trade, which is why I liked 77 and 60, but I just put all the exit on 77. Kind of just got lucky in that respect, but the entry was on this Kumo breakout, and your support's down here at 55. Down to 4-hour. Again, this flag, kind of textbook triangle situation. Doji, 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 just no volume probably. But this would be your support, 66. So 66 to 100, I think, is a good range for bids and targets and sells and whatnot. Now we move to LISC, which has never had a bullish 5200 on the daily. Should that occur, expect mission to launch. And on the 4-hour 317 5200, you can see this consolidation in the 5200 confirming. So it looks pretty good for more up. This kind of is what Ethereum looks like as well. And daily single cloud, it's definitely broken out. Not really an entry again because of the bearish TK cross here. So wait for the bullish TK cross on the daily. Going to the 4-hour. It is out of cloud. It's a Kumo breakout. Everything's green, everything's bullish except the lagging span. So potential minimal entry based on those things. We go to the daily doubled. Looks good as far as an entry is concerned. It's near the Kijun. You got some sort of flag situation. I mean, you got to think the upside on this is just huge because all it's done is sell off. If we turn off the cloud real quick, I like this zone right here, 5-3. Again, I'm just looking at wicks. Where did it bounce from? Where did it bounce down from? Where did it bounce up from? That sort of thing. So 5300, 53,000 sats. And on the 4-hour, there was a edge-to-edge flat Kumo situation, which has essentially completed at this point. So this is made in like Factum. It's been a ranging mess for a while. It's on the weekly. This could just keep squeezing down. So I would just stay out of it indefinitely until it gets out of this range. You can see these crosses have occurred a few times at 5200s, but nothing real reliable on the daily. On the 4-hour, kind of noisy. I guess it's reliable, but nothing I want to take a signal on or trade out based off of. If we go to the single daily cloud, again, just range. When it's ranging like that, do not trust the cloud for entry signals because they're going to be wrong. Cloud is for trends, so things like this, pullbacks, or things like this, where we break out of the cloud. When it's in the same ranging zone, you can see it's a triangle here. It's not something you want to take trades based off of. On the daily, again, ranging mess, 4-hour, just a ranging mess. So this video is an hour long at this point. I'm going to stop it here. I'll continue the rest of these in the next video. But if you made it through to the end, I don't know how. Like, dislike, comment, share, subscribe. Let me know if you agree or disagree with any of this or want to see something more specific about a certain altcoin. Share this. Shout out to the Coin Farm on Telegram. I will definitely be talking to them soon here. And happy trading.